In the following lessons, we will discuss the camera basics, so simply how the camera works in real life. This knowledge will help you understand future decisions we'll make during the course. We'll start with the fundamental issue, the exposure triangle, which is the relationship between aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. These three components work together. You cannot use one without changing the others if you want to get good results. Now, if you adjust one element, another element must change to keep the same exposure of your image. But you can use them to do so much more than just control the brightness of the photo or video. I'll walk you through everything step by step. Let's start with shutter speed. Shutter speed is simply the time that the camera's shutter is open, allowing light to hit the sensor to make an exposure. For example, value 250 means the shutter will be open for 1/250th of a second. The higher number means that the shutter will open and close faster. This will give you a sharper image with less motion blur, but less light will come to the sensor and the image will be darker. On the other hand, lower values will give you a slower shutter, allowing more light to go through the lens. In this case, the image will be brighter, but you have to be careful with the motion blur. Motion blur is not always a bad thing, but you have to know how to make it work for you. Photography of waterfalls is a great example. The flowing water looks much better with a motion blur. This image was shot with a shutter speed of 3 seconds. It means that this photo was taken for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. This would be impossible to do without a tripod, but we, as 3D artists, don't have to worry about it. An aperture is an opening through which light travels inside the lens. F-number controls how large this opening is. The smaller the value, the wider the opening is. It also means that more light is coming through the lens and the image gets brighter. The depth of field is the byproduct of the aperture. Wider apertures produce a shallow depth of field. Narrower apertures results in greater depth of field, letting more details in images be in focus. But the image gets darker because less light can come through the lens. Each lens has its own aperture range. Lenses which can open wider are more expensive, but we as 3D artists don't have to worry about it. And the last thing is ISO. It refers to the sensitivity of the camera sensor. A higher value means there's more sensitivity, while a low ISO means the camera sensor becomes less sensitive to light. If you set the ISO too high, you might get a very bright picture that has lots of visible dots, a noisy image if you will, but again, we don't have to worry about it in 3D. So basically, the process is that you set up your aperture and shutter speed as you want, and then you set ISO to balance the exposure.